Welcome to Skin and Soul. I'm Gwenm Carlsey, a transformational body, sex, and soul coach, and I'm inviting you on a bold, unfiltered journey into the heart of our humanity through the lens of Eros. This is where we strip away the shame, dive into the unspoken, and embrace the wild, raw truth of our desires. Together, we'll crack open the taboo, uncover our deepest intimacies, and awaken the pulse of our sexual essence. Because real transformation, it's messy, it's thrilling, and it's oh so delicious. Buckle up, loves. Skin and Soul Beyond the Pale starts in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Hello, I'm Gwenm. I'm your host of Skin and Soul Beyond the Pale. And I get to talk to you today with Cidney G Green, which is a real treat. She's the author of All Three in Me, which we're going to talk about and dive into today. She's a viral sensation behind the erotic sleepover events featured on Amazon Prime's Sex Life. She's also a professional phone sex coach with Mobile Money 365. She's an actress, Buddhist, world traveler, and proud nudist. She is truly the living expression of what it means to live boldly, authentically, and fully sexually alive. And in this conversation, I think we're going to explore a whole lot because the book has so many layers, and we're going to start with that. So yeah, let's start there, because All Three in Me, and I'm just going to start off with, when reading it, it definitely challenged me because it is so starkly sexual. I'm going to say it is starkly pornographic. It's very in your face, and it has so many layers to it, which I found so interesting. And I wanted to start with the idea around the original wound and how that imprints our sexuality and how we approach love and relationships, because you do it so beautifully throughout the book. So yeah, let's go there with your original wound and how that would affect the rest of your sexual expression.
So you're talking about, obviously, so I don't even think you're going to get a chance to read anything. If you read the whole book in that short amount of time,
I got to 3/4. I really did. So I have gotten
really?
Yeah, really.
Wow.
I'm a good reader. Yeah.
That's impressive. Okay. All right. So yes. So the original wound, you're talking about Mona.
Yes, I am talking about Mona.
So she's talking about, the book starts off with, I know the cover, you think it started off with like dick and ass, but actually, oh shit. Can I say what I want to say on here?
You can say what you want to say. That's the beauty of this. It is called Beyond the Pale for a reason.
Thank you, girl, because I got a potty mouth. So, okay. And it's clear within the book. I talk a lot of shit. Anyway, so the first chapter is Mona gave birth to us all. It's just talking about how when my dad divorced, when my dad left, and how I interpreted that through, the eyes of a 5-year-old, and what all of that became for me. Like, I made it mean so much more than it meant. But I think we all do that as children. Like, with something about when parents break up, we just make it all about us. Like, what the hell? So yes, the original wound was dad left. He didn't stay for me. That translated to me not being worthy enough to make a man stay in my life. That started the abandonment issues and the hustling for worthiness that I have used to do. The fear of pushing a man too hard, holding him accountable too much because he'll leave. Thinking that, and I took on the patriarchal view that it's always a woman's fault, that men are benevolent and perfect, and that all the women are the ones that need to do all of the changing and shit. That I need to do all the adjusting, and the men just need to stay benevolent and perfect. So the original wound goes to that, and I started off with that. I really hope I did I used to read that chapter for a while. I used to read a chapter and get teary-eyed. It's really funny. And I used to like go back. I was like, oh my God, I feel emotional reading this. But yes, I think that that's what started everything. And based on those set of very flawed premises, very flawed, that kind of catapulted how I related to the men. And yeah.
And why would you call it? I'm curious, because you just said that it was flawed, like the view was flawed, but it's really how we get wired in, even as children, whether it's our one parent left or how we, the messaging around our own sexuality. So I'm curious, like, why do you think it was flawed?
Because I'm over here thinking that It took me to about age 26 to realize, to connect the dot as a grown person, that my mom and dad divorced because my dad cheated and my mom kicked him out. I thought it was because of me, which is crazy. So that's very flawed. I mean, that's not what happened. The relationship didn't work out. That's what happened. The flawed premise that I, as a woman, is the one who needed to do all of the correcting. I blame my mom, I blamed me, and I blame my sister for my dad leaving. I wasn't worthy enough. My sister didn't do enough, and my mama yelled at him. So it's all our fault why my daddy is leaving the family. And so that's very flawed. Like, being afraid to hold a man accountable, because if I'm yelling, or if I'm being too vocal, or if I'm pushing him too hard, he gonna leave. Like, it's so many flawed premises that I came up with, and I carried that shit as a grown ass woman, acting like that to certain degrees. And I worked very hard to get over my abandonment issues. Abandonment was a big piece of this book. Like, I was terrified of abandonment most of the time. You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of spiraled into a bunch of bullshit, especially with the stripper. Now, you read The Stripper is really where I was not okay. So yeah.
No, well, okay. So in terms of because at one point you talk about, as women, we're either seen as the whore, right? Like the women that are either you're supposed to retain yourself, right? Like this messaging that you're supposed to retain yourself, you're not supposed to be sexual, you're not supposed to give up too much of yourself, and yet there's this pull towards like what you discover after, when you really claim your own sovereignty, when you come into yourself. Where you realize what men are really attracted to isn't whether you are the whore or not the whore, or like the pristine. What it comes down to is coming in and being in your own goddess and your own sovereignty and your own being.
Yeah, and I had to learn that the hard way. I think every woman goes through that. What I talk, you're talking about the chapter where I had a whole breakdown. I had a whole breakdown. I was like crying in the middle of the floor, and just realized that I literally caused all of my anguish in my love life because I had such low expectations for myself. Like my self-worth was very low, and I was very confused because I thought that you're supposed to not have sex, and that's how you get a man. So I went on this 2-year celibacy thing, saying I'm not going to have sex until I get a man, and that did not work. And I was very resentful of all women who were getting the results. Like, I hated everybody. Like, if you were getting dick and you weren't acting holier than thou or whatever, I hated you, because how dare you get a result that I'm not getting? I'm following the rules, you ain't, and I'm being punished. I was a confused little girl, very confused, and just all over the place, and just girl. And it just didn't work. I realized it doesn't really matter when you have sex. It's really what matters is how you feel about yourself and your vibrational frequency and what you believe about yourself. Because there are people who fuck whenever they want to and say, you're going to pay my bills, you're going to love me, you're going to treat me right, and that's what they get. But you had me who couldn't get to that belief until many years later.
Yeah, what was the transition, you think, from going from not having that within you and being resentful and withholding and not having sex to where you end up going to, which and I'll let you explain more so I don't give it away.
Well, I got introduced to Buddhism at 19. Religion wasn't for me. I'm too rebellious and, quite frankly, a little bit too smart, honestly, to just go along blindly follow some doctrine that didn't make no sense. So I got involved with Buddhism. So Buddhism helped me to take some type of ownership of my happiness and of my life. It wasn't just out him like, okay, wait, I can have some say in how my life goes. Then I ended up getting involved in law of attraction and manifestation and understanding the power of thoughts and beliefs. I had to like really observe my mind, like observe what the fuck I was thinking and feeling, like what comes up for me when I'm engaging with a new love, like new relationship, what's coming up for me, like what beliefs do I hold, what am I expecting? So I started to do all like like really pay attention to myself, and it was hard because I realized I was negative as hell. I was negative, and I was kind of pathetic a little bit, and so and then I started to like figure out what I wanted sexually. Like, what do I actually want sexually? I know what I've been told I should want, but what do I actually want sexually? What kind of sex life do I actually want? And then once I did that, and the way that the biggest key that I tell anybody when it comes down to figuring out who you are is you have to ask yourself, if your desire was socially acceptable by the masses and you would get praised for it, would you want to do it? And in my answer, and if your answer is yes, then that's who you really are. Because a lot of times we don't even understand how fearful we are of criticism and of being ousted by the society or whatever it is. It's in all of us. And so once I was able to undo that and realize, okay, so this is actually who I really do want to be. And I don't really give a fuck what these people are talking about, because these people are miserable. Like, most of the people we're trying to impress are actually miserable. And and Kevin Trudeau, who I love, he said that the number one thing on people's deathbed that they say that they regret is not doing more of what they wanted and worried about what other people thought. I was like, so if that's what most people are, that's the biggest regret. I'm not going to have that regret. I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to figure out how to own my body. I had to really say, is sex bad? You had to take it in baby steps. Like, okay, is sex bad? I know we feel like it's bad, but is it actually bad? We're exchanging pleasure. Okay. So is sex with more than one person bad? How could that be bad? That's just like saying, how's more than one income stream bad? No, it's good. Okay, I like that. Let's do that. And it's like literally question by question, like, oh, okay. There's nothing wrong with none of this shit. We just been taught by religion and patriarchy. So that was like the slow version of how I ended up getting out of the bullshit.
Okay, and then so getting out of the bullshit, because the bullshit is really uncomfortable, right? So you're saying it as it's really easy. And I think it's really difficult for most people to step into that place of, even if you know that it's not bad, even if you can rationalize your way, it's how did you move through the parts of you that may have come up? Because you have a lot of parts that you work through in the book, right? You have the wise one, which I believe is Angela. You have Lena. You have Kiddo, which is the rage within you, right? The one that's the protector. So, I mean, and you manage to recognize all of these pieces within you that as protectors in one way or another, which I think most people don't have that understanding. So if you got to explain a little bit around what it feels like to move through some of this stuff.
It's uncomfortable as hell. It's hard. You like the chapter in which I think it's like, I don't know, chapter 2 or 3, I'm balled up on the fucking floor crying. Because it's like a little, I liken it in the book to, I mean, I like a lot of vampire movies. Like I like Vampire Diaries and stuff like that. And like whenever the werewolf under the first moon, every bone in his body breaks when you're transformed into the werewolf. So every emotional bone in my body has been broken. It hurts. It's scary. And I see why a lot of people don't do it. You have to sit with yourself. You have to sit with yourself and be still in journaling. I love to journal. Journaling is very key. But Buddhism helped me. I mean, honestly, Buddhism helped me. It's hard. It's uncomfortable. It's isolating. Not a lot of people are going to be able to relate to what you're going through because people don't do this generally. You're not going to have a lot of people say, hey, I had an ego death. What are you talking about? Like, I mean, you can't really talk to a lot of people about it. But I was very fortunate enough to get a hold of what I would say is the correct wisdoms very early. At 19, I got a hold of Nichiren Buddhism. I'm telling you, a lot of that stuff, that's the foundation to a lot of it, why it was easy, because you have to face yourself. You have to face your shit head on. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And so it's hard and it's isolating and it sucks. It's not fun. I'm still going through it. I had an identity. I had a whole identity shift and weird shit I had to go through like last week. So it never ends though. That's another thing that, it doesn't end.
It never ends. Yeah. That's what I always say to people. It doesn't end. You get better at it, or you get better at recognizing things as they come up. But if you stop growing, you essentially just die. Some part of you just goes and cuts off from yourself. So if you tell everyone, what is the all three in me?
All three in me. Well, I named the book that because and the subtitles, they were inside of me before they were inside of me. It's because, again, the foundation of who I am is manifestation and law of attraction. So any lover that you have is a mirror of you. A lot of y'all listen to this part. No, I ain't nothing like him. Yes, you are. You are. Your lovers everybody in your life, but we were talking about lovers, are a reflection of you. And you manifested that partnership. Something in you matched their frequency. That's the only way you even met this person. Okay. So they were all inside of me before they're inside of me. So all of these men have characteristics that deeply reflect me. And then I did fuck all three of them. So they all were inside of me. So yeah, that part too. And that's a lot of fun. So that's what I'm saying. The book is very introspective. It's definitely more than me. She did say it's pornographic. It is. The sex scenes are highly detailed, but so was all of the other shit. So was all of my emotions and shit. And why I say they're reflections of me, even the parts I don't like. The people that you read that irk you, it is something within you that is a match in some way. And it's not always black and white. It's not like they're a cheater, so I'm a cheater. It's not always like that.
No.
It's not like this cookie cutter black and white perfectly lined up thing. Because that's what I say when I say that people say, well, no, he's a cheater. I'm not. It's not like that. It's not like that. But he manipulated you and you manipulated him. You went into the relationship acting like a Jehovah's Witness when you weren't, and he acted like he was some one-man woman. Both of y'all were manipulative. Mm-hmm. Both of you. Neither one of you were authentic. That's the match. You don't want to see that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to say. So I own my shit. I learned very early in life to own my shit and to embrace all of my shit. The good stuff and the bad stuff. I love Kiddo. Kiddo is I love when Kiddo comes out. Kiddo was my very vindictive, rageful, like highly that part. And I used to be scared of her. I used to didn't like her. That was another identity crisis I had, like acknowledging her. Because I was like, no, I'm not vindictive. I'm always happy. I'm not angry. I don't hold on to shit. Yes, I do.
Well, there's parts of you that do. I mean, I think within most women, we have this rageful part. Like I know that I have one that still exists. I like to think that she's under control. There's been a lot of healing that's there, but it exists, right? What I call her my Callie, right? She's like a storm.
Yes.
And then you have, and to me, what you've really described are all, you've got your inner child part, your Mona, your Angela, I have all the, there's quite a few of them. And I love the way each chapter kind of brings out a different flavor of each one of them, of how you are receiving a lover or how you're experiencing a lover, and almost like watching the parts of you. So witnessing these different parts of you react in ways. Am I getting that right? Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
You are. I love that. You're perfectly in understanding what I was getting at, and that's why I layered it like that. It's almost going to be a situation where if you were to reread the book, you'd be like, okay, that's Angela. Like you'll be able to see that. And I wanted it to be, even though you may not relate to dealing with a married man or stripper, I do feel like even you, maybe who have not had these experiences with black men and all that shit, or maybe you have, or whatever I have going on, you can see your Angela, your Kiddo, because you said your inner Callie. That's your Kiddo. Your inner little girl.
Yep.
Your little girl.
My little angel is, your Mona, right? The one that hides, whether it's through abandonment from, and yours was from the abandonment of your father, or what was perceived at that age, and Mona was created, right? And we have all of these parts within ourselves that are protectors all the time. And I love how you see that so clearly. So my next question to you, as you moved on from understanding your sexuality and feeling into liberation, that there is nothing wrong, that we're in these bodies to experience what we want to experience, essentially. And I'm going to say, it's like, I think the part that got me in the shocking aspect was, from the female and the women's perspective, it was like, oh, this is claiming this primal place that women don't generally get to claim, right? It's usually seen from the masculine, right? It's the men that are watching the porn. It's men who want something that's really hard, fast, through BDSM or through just like a rougher, and it comes through your voice, which I found really interesting. I was like, wow. And I had to sit there and digest, like I was digesting it. I was like, oh, I don't know how this feels in my body reading it, which I found really interesting, because I'm like, oh, I love erotic literature, but this is hitting me in places that I'm like, oh, what's going on?
Okay, so what do you Yeah, that's interesting. What do you mean? What was the difference between maybe this and other erotic books you've read?
Well, I think normally when I think of erotic literature, it's probably softer. It probably has more, what I'm going to say, sensuality, has more of the fantasy. That's why I thought it was so interesting when we talk about the original wound, like how our fantasies are created, how our experiences are created. My body still braces up at, I'm going to say, the starkness of the sexuality, right? Like I was like, this is a woman who's claimed like this, the raw primal aspect of sexuality unapologetically. And within me, I found myself going, oh, isn't this interesting? Like, I'm like, oh, that's hitting places that are uncomfortable and like making me question, oh, where do I feel this? Where do I not? You know, so I thought that, and I love that. I mean, I consider that like, oh, this is testing my what feels good, what doesn't, where like what are my edges, and questioning like the whole the idea around liberation, freedom, right? The freedom to love, non-ownership. I call this episode the myth of ownership because you talk about, you know, love in a way that is embracing of polyamory and bringing in your lovers into the same space.
Yes, that's very interesting. So what's funny, I always love hearing people talk about the book, not because I'm just some kind of narcissist, just because I didn't read it. I'm tired of reading this goddamn book. Okay, the editing process, I'm tired of reading this shit. Okay, because the editing process, you have to look at the same shit like so I get a little desensitized, and plus I've lived it. I know what's there. So hearing other people say stuff like that is very interesting because like, oh, okay, well, I forgot other people, like how other people thinking this. I know what I'm thinking, but it's interesting. But no, the primal aspect. Women are taught to be afraid, reject, and suppress their sexuality. And we surely never get a chance to get the combination of primal sexuality. And when I say primal, it encompasses a lot. Primal, as far as the energy, our true sexual desires, like our true fantasies. A lot of women have the desire of having more than one man at one time in the bed. A lot of women, like, you know, would love that idea, but they don't even let themselves really admit that they want it because it's so frowned upon. You know, you're a whore. That whores are unlovable, and that's exactly what this. You just can't be unlovable in this society because no man gonna want you, and you ain't shit if a man don't want you. It's a whole bunch of stuff. So we rarely get a chance, even if our desire is other women or, I don't know, to BDSM, whips and chains or whatever. It's so many ways to be sexual, to explore sexuality. But women are taught that you can't have that, and you definitely can't have that and get love at the same time. Because the sexually free woman is the unlovable woman. The sexually expressive woman is the unlovable woman. You can't have love, especially not unconditional love. A lot of women's love is based on how they present sexually, so conditioned on body count, how many men you've had, what kind of sex you like, how good are you at sex. You can't be too good because that means you've been having practice. You can't be too bad because that means you're gonna be bored. Like it's so many conditions wrapped up in how we express our sexuality, and you just can't have all of that. But men can. Men can be wild freaks, porn stars, whatever, and still somehow be worthy of this love, this undying devotion and love. But women are taught that we can't have any of that. And, you know, it goes back, and it's historical based. I mean, back in the Victorian age, women were looked at as fucking mentally ill if you liked sex. Like if you mentally ill, possessed. So then we bring religion into it. So you're possessed by a demon now. You know what I'm saying? If you like sex or talk about it or just doing it, you're not that little girl when it comes down to sex. You know, it's kind of pedophilic. They want you to act like a 5-year-old. They want you to act, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So it is very hard for women to find that primal thing. And so when you can find it and get unconditional love as the same thing you really want. And I think women deserve that fucking feeling. Like I got with Cash. When Cash was so in love with me, but yet wanted me to have the fantasy of experiencing his best friend, that is something that I just want a woman to experience just one time in their life. Be your pure, wild, kinky, whatever kink you in, crazy sexual self, and get a man to say, I want to marry you and love you and all that stuff. We don't get that usually. We have to fight very hard for it.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, like, honestly, like I'm like, oh, I think I like a level of jealousy within a man, you know, and it's interesting, this notion of not possessive jealousy, because I would agree with you in the sense of, like, there's I don't like possession whatsoever, or the sense of ownership. But I'm always like, yeah, I like a tinge of jealousy. It for me, it's an expression of love. Like, if I don't care, and the whole idea around sharing, again, is so fascinating to me, because I'm always like, I don't share. I mean, I don't share because it would definitely test those boundaries. And I think most of the time, it leans into the uncomfortable. We have this illusion that we own people, or we have this illusion that this person, I don't even want to say that we necessarily think consciously, oh, I own this person, but we bring in commitment and think that that's the safety zone. That think like, oh, I'm going to control this outcome. I'm not that person is not allowed to look at another human, right? They're not allowed to feel desire, expression, and you live it out so fully. With Cash, actually, with all of them, with August, with
Antonio,
and yeah, Antonio, yes. So you live it out with them, all three of them, and I think so which is really interesting, and they all play out just slightly differently.
Jealousy, there's nothing wrong with a tinge of jealousy. It can be flattering and cute. But people have different thresholds, like for jealousy. I have a short threshold for jealousy within myself and other people. When I say short threshold, you can be a little jealous, that's fine. But if it's going to drag on, if it's like a personality trait that you have, that's going to be too much. If you have a jealous moment, that's fucking understandable. I don't claim to be perfect. That's clear in the book. I got my shit with me. Okay. My insecurity manifests in different ways. I definitely can be jealous and feel insecure and need reassurance. That's one of the things I end up learning along my journey. Is like, I'm someone who needs quite a bit of reassurance. I need, reassurance. So there's nothing wrong with jealousy. I think everybody's going to feel it. And it is a little bit, it is cute, but making that be a constant. I also hate the feeling of feeling jealous. Feeling jealous is so uncomfortable for me. I hate it. I want to eradicate it when I feel it. It's like, okay, I acknowledge and I honor the fact that I'm feeling jealous. That means it's a desire. What desire do I have right now? Okay, so and what am I afraid of, and what limiting belief do I have around the desire? If you deconstruct jealousy, it's a desire that we have a limiting belief around, and we have fear around that. So I'm jealous. Me and my man are out. He's looking at this girl, and she has a flatter stomach than mine. I don't know. I really do want a flatter stomach like her. That's the desire, and I have limiting beliefs around it right now. It's taking too long. I don't have it. He's not gonna like me.
She's more attractive, right? He likes her more. I'm not as attractive. He might leave me for this one,
right? And I had to get to my fear. My fear is, I'm afraid that he thinks she's more attractive, and that may make him leave me. So I need to get with myself or ask for reassurance. So it's no big deal. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying I can't live in that energy. So I have insecure moments. And a lot of people have secure moments, which means they live mainly in the energy of insecurity. I hate it. It's so uncomfortable. I don't like to feel like that. I hate this. Like, let me go ahead and fix it. So a little bit of jealousy is cool, but a lot is too much. I don't like it.
Well, I think most people live in this box, right, where we create the illusion of the safety. Hence, you talk about marriage, and I think at the end you don't even. Well, I don't want to spoil an end, but just the idea around marriage creates this falsehood of safety, or that we can again own somebody. So, how did you personally go from the sense of I have to repress my sexuality if I give up all of this, to finding that voice that says, this is the way I like sex. Like, I get to express myself fully, loudly, in the ways that most people wouldn't think are socially acceptable for a woman to feel.
You saying how I got there?
Yeah.
I had to really deconstruct religion. Pretty much all of our sexual hangups come from religion. Pretty much, I feel like most of them. You can't really separate religion and patriarchy because it's the same thing, but we can for a second. Religion has a big mental chokehold on people. Once I realized that Christianity was made up and it wasn't real, that helped me a lot. Because my main hang-up, so you ask anybody what the issue is with sex, it's going to have a religious basis, even if they don't know it does, consciously. So once you eradicate that, really do your research and use critical thinking skills about religion, the history, why it was founded, why they work so hard to suppress the female sexuality, the fact that we're born with a clitoris and it only has one function is to orgasm. That says a lot.
It does, yeah.
We're not supposed to be we're not a sexual being naturally, but we have a clitoris.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't.
With twice as many nerve endings, right? At least I think now they discovered that it's closer to 12,000 nerve endings in it, where they were thinking 8 to 10, and it's closer to 12. Yeah.
And men don't have such an organ. They don't have anything that's there just for orgasm. Like nothing. Everything they do has a dual purpose. Like the head of their penis, it feels good, but that's also where pee comes out of. So it's, prostate orgasm, but prostate does other. Women, I just want women to know you've been lied to about the nature of your sexuality. It's been a very calculated, high effort, violent program to make you shrink your sexuality, to make you reject it and think it's bad. And you have to really think, well, why would they do that? So you have to really start deconstructing all of it. You have to sit with yourself or with someone that's on the same path as you and just ask yourself and question everything you think you feel about sex. Why do you feel like you should have obligatory sex when you really don't want to? Why do you feel like you need to fake orgasms because, while he has the time of his life? Why do you think masturbation is bad when it's hurting no one? Why do you feel uncomfortable watching something sexual but comfortable watching boxing when somebody's fighting and being violent? Like, why are you more comfortable with violence and sex?
I 1,000% agree with you. I think there's more violence on television that people are so accustomed to watching. They'd rather talk to their kids about violence, watch a movie show. I think the news is on regularly, and yet when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to bodies, when it comes to expression, it's completely shut down. We teach the biological aspects without teaching the pleasure aspects of it. We don't teach children how to honor their own bodies, so that as they grow into full-fledged human beings, to honor their bodies in very deep ways, and women particularly. Like when we look at women owning their body, their sexuality, coming to a place of primalness. I think most women don't even go there, don't even have the thought of how what that sounds like, what they do want to hear, how uncomfortable that can feel in the body, right? It's how much shame can come up just even in the thought of or being touched in a certain way or spoken to in a certain way, and noticing like, oh, how does that make me feel? And is it my voice that I'm listening to, or is it somebody else's voice that taught me that?
Yes, everything you just said. Figuring out whose voice you're listening to is a whole nother thing. And I love that you said that. What voice am I listening to? Society's, which is religion, or mine? And it's just, it's a motherfucker. We have been told lies about every fucking major subject on earth. You've been taught lies about the nature of happiness, who God is, sexuality, money, health. Like it's nothing that you were born into the truth about, in my view. Nothing. Everything you have to get to an age where you critically think. And yes, so you have to, it starts with asking yourself a series of very uncomfortable questions. Very uncomfortable questions. And just and learning how to be objective about whatever answer comes up for you. You can work out the feelings later, but for now, the first step is objectively looking and asking these questions and going and doing your research with and trying your best to detach any like judgment about whatever you find. Okay, so is sex in itself bad? Like, if you really think, I had this, like, I was on TikTok and had these videos like boxing versus porn. I was like, okay, so if we look at what porn is, everybody like vilifies porn, but porn is quite literally people, consensual adults, exchanging pleasure. There's no angle we can make that bad. You can't give me an angle that is not rooted in religion that makes it bad. You can't. But if I look at boxing and the goal of porn is orgasm, we're supposed to, obviously we understand that porn is performative. We get all that. We're talking about in itself. We get it. And we also understand some fucked up shit. Like, we're not getting into the how it can be fucked up and all that. We're just talking about in itself, watching porn. Two people fuck. The goal is orgasm. Watching boxing. What is the goal? A knockout, which is a concussion, is a brain energy, a brain injury. Quite literally, a knockout is celebrated. It's a brain damage. It's what a knockout is. When you pass out, it's a brain injury. So, bloody and bodily harm. If we look at the two in itself, which one is inherently good and inherently not good? Sex is inherently good.
I agree that sex is totally inherently good, and I'm like, and I enjoy porn. Like, there's aspects of porn that I really enjoy, and I do see. So to me, like, I'm looking at both of those, because boxing, also is an expression of, like, men grapple, men wrestle, men fight each other, men, like, that's part of their primal nature as well. Like, I don't enjoy watching boxing. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't like watching a man get a concussion, because I agree with you. And there's also something around porn, which is the other extreme, because I also don't think that it highlights generally female pleasure, because it can be so performative, right? And I'm not talking about, like, I think what we do miss is being able to see more natural porn, and I know it's coming out more. Erica Less does, ethical porn and so on, so that there's a more naturalism to it, because I do think it damages our youth, right? Because it just teaches them that it's like hard, fast core, and like, and it's an instant over. But both of those are very stark, violent versions of physicality. And which I just want you to speak to for a second, even with around porn.
Yeah. And so, like, now I understand that people argue, well, so you just lay down and have sex. There's no training that goes in there. They got to train to be boxers. I didn't ask you that. And actually, taking a lot of dick and ass is a lot of training, actually. So it is work. Sex work is work. Thank you. But that's not the point. I'm asking which one is inherently good and which one is inherently not good. And the answer is obvious. But the reason why we're not upset about that, while we're okay with bloodiness, like, I've looked at MMA fights where it's like blood all over it. I'm like, I'm so uncomfortable. That's me, though. I'm not judging people who like martial arts. Nothing wrong with that. And I think it's great to learn martial arts, to learn how to defend yourself. But it's something weird about violence for, like, sport. It reminds me of, like, the gladiator days, like fighting to the death, and like whoever can pummel the other person is rewarded. But the person who can make the person orgasm the most is shamed, and it's very strange. Now, porn, I don't think porn needs to be used for educational purposes, because it's not how, like you said, it ain't really about that. It is performative. It can be. I get all that, but I had to deconstruct that. Why is society more comfortable with violence than they are with pleasure? Well, because the Bible is very violent and has not one sex scene. It comes from religion. The Bible, God killing everybody, mad, flooding the world. He's just killing everybody. He's violent, and it's really God. The God of the Bible is a raging narcissist. He's actually fucking insane. He mad at you, so we kill all the firstborn sons of Egypt. Like, what are you doing? But it's no goddamn love making scene in the whole goddamn thing. Well, I ain't got no sex scene in the Bible.
And why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that sex is so like vilified?
Particularly female sexuality, because when you are in touch with your sexuality, when you own it, you are really the power that comes along with that. It is so the need and the reliance on male and male approval dissipates when a woman owns her sexuality. So let's talk about what I mean when I say sexual freedom, and then I want to know what you think when you hear the term. I'm gonna start with you. Okay, if I say I'm sexually free, what do you think? Or do you identify as someone who's sexually free? Do you feel like you own your sexuality?
I do. I totally own my sexuality. And I mean, I know where my blocks are. I also know where I am in my own core, my personal integrity of my own sexuality. It took me a long time because I think when I was young, I really enjoyed lovers. I enjoyed, I always say I like to kiss everybody. I've enjoyed women. I've enjoyed men. I think as I get older, my sexual path is a very different one, right? So it's expressive. I think personally, I like to go deeper than the need to. I'm going to say I've done a lot of playing, I've done a lot of exploring. And so for me, it was really about coming home into my body. Again, what you were saying is what is true for me? What feels good for me? And am I doing it to impress somebody, to get love? Is it a voice in my head, or is it something that really feels good to me? And so I'm enjoying my sexuality, like as I get older, because it's coming from a much truer place instead of and I think I was much more performative at the age of 20, let's say, than I am anywhere today.
I love that. I love that response. For me, sexual freedom means I have sex and express my sexuality the way I want to, without any regard of what men think or want, without any of the social norms. So that can look a few different ways. That could look like, so if I decide what my criteria is that day or that week or whatever phase I'm in. So that could mean if I get the green light from within to have sex with 5 men this week, I'm going to do it with no shame. If I feel the green light to have sex with no men for 5 years, I don't do it. Right. Because sexually free does not always mean a lot of sex. It could actually mean a drought. It could mean, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't honor that before when I was younger. I talk about that with Alina chapter. Alina is my primal sexuality. I talk about how she was confused and I didn't know what to do with her for a while, because it was like, I don't really want to have sex, but I will, he was nice to me, so I will, that's not sexual. That's not, or I really do want to fuck him, but I'm not, because, I had sex with a man like last month, I shouldn't do it. That neither one of those is sexually free. You know what I'm saying?
It's so, the no's as well as your yeses, right? It's like, it's absolutely. Being able to honor all of it. It means that I know when it doesn't feel right, I don't want to do it for whatever reason. Like you said, it could be drought for 5 years, and then it could be a free flow. And I'm with you. I think for me, there's whatever presents itself and feels good in my body and my being at any one time.
But it's hard because that's what it's such a mind fuck. I just want to empathize with women, really empathize with us. We have such a mind fuck with this sex thing, man. Like, it is hard to figure it out. But men don't like the sexually free woman. They can't stand sexually free women. And it's not even all because we have sex. They don't like it. They want women to have sex on their terms. Period. That's how we've been taught, to have sex on the terms of men when they think it's appropriate. And don't tell them no when they want it either. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't like it being up to you when you have sex. They want it to be up to them. So men have not liked me because I'm not fucking right now. I know you took me out to dinner. I know you ate my pussy. I know you're nice. I still don't want to fuck you though. Or even if you did eat pussy, I don't want you to do that. And men also don't like it when you fuck when you want to. Like it's and you have to not care. I don't know. You have to get to a point where you don't give a fuck. You have to get to the point where you realize that the patriarchy makes men very confused, unstable, mentally and emotionally remedial people. Very weak men. You can't be trying to impress nobody like that because they don't know what they want anyway. Men are confused. They don't know whether they want. They say they want a Jehovah's Witness who a virgin only to cheat on her with a stripper. Men are confused. You can't listen to what they're saying. So completely disengage from that and operate how you want to. And it takes time. It does take time. Even if you can logically understand what I'm saying right now, it still takes time to identify the voices. You talked about the voices. To identify which voice is telling me that. Like, is this my trauma voice? Hold on, is this Mona talking? No, Mona, we can't listen to you right now. You do anything for love. We can't listen to you. Is this Lena who just horny? Like, who are we listening to? You know what I'm saying? So it takes a long time to figure that out. And I really empathize with that. And men can never understand. Men have, by their own creed, decided that their genitals have no value. They've decided it. They said it. It has no value. The dick has no value. They've said that. So they can't relate to you. They can't tell you what to do with your pussy. They don't have this thing that everybody wants, but yet everybody's telling you not to give. They cannot relate to that. You can't go to men for wisdom on what to do with your vagina. You can't. They don't know. They don't know shit. They confused. They say they want a sexually woman and you fuck them good and they don't know what to do. I don't know. How did she get so good? They're stupid. You gotta, that's why it can be a very lonely journey. And a lot of women are lost in the sauce. You can't really find solace in most women either. Most women are misogynistic as fuck. I was a misogynistic woman. I was a slut shaming, hating ass bitch. So I wouldn't have been a good person to talk to either at a certain point. It's a lonely journey. And if you have some friends you can go on the journey with, you lucky. But most of the time it's a very solitary journey. And your parents ain't gonna help you either. Usually you can't talk to most parents about this. They're gonna tell you some old dumb shit. So it's
I totally agree with you. I think there's like the more you grow, particularly sexually and consciously, and that goes for men too, the journey gets lonelier because you are no longer on a vibrational level with other people that are just not there consciously. So I'm curious for you how you experience and how you view sexuality, sex in itself, with intimacy and love.
Okay, clarify that question for me. I don't want to ramble.
Well, so we're talking about sex and the liberation of sex, and I'm just wondering for you in the equation of sex and love, like how that's come to meet you in this life. So it's one thing to be liberated sexually, and but what does liberated in sexuality and love mean to you? I guess that's a better way of putting it.
Okay, I think I answered that by maybe. I guess the perfect answer is what I'm going through right now. I actually haven't had sex in over a year. That's what I'm talking about. Sexually free can mean droughts. It could mean vibrators. So for me, what I want right now and what I'm seeking is a certain feeling. Like my green light is different than what it was. I am looking for a feeling. I want to be seen and I want to feel safe. That's what's going to make me want to have sex these days. So for me right now, and that I guess can create the feeling of love. So for me, that's where I am right now and how I want to combine sexual freedom and love for me. And
would you say it's true? Would you say it's true that most women need a sense of safety in order to fully also show up fully expressed in their sexuality?
Absolutely. Even if it's a one night stand, you felt safe, to do that. So that's the tricky thing about it. Well, not really tricky. That's the complex thing about it. We all are different and are working from different places and are in different phases in our lives. And safety could mean something different for me to you. Safety is more emotional in what I'm talking about, but safety could mean the man needs to be putting you in a 5-star hotel. That's what it is for you right then at that moment. And next week you'll be on some different stuff. So yes, I do feel like it shifts and it changes. But yes, I do feel like in order for that primal
place,
that primal energy requires safety, requires it. I have not yet seen an exception to that. Because primal is very fun. It's so exciting when you get that primal energy with somebody, and you absolutely, if you deconstruct it, you do feel safe.
Yeah, you need to be able to surrender fully in order to be open for that. And it's funny. So he'll know primally whether she feels safe with him or not, right? And even so, all the performance in the world doesn't make up for that true sense of safety. So thank you. I'm gonna move us and shift us because we're that went so fast. It always goes really fast. I'm going to ask you my 10 questions, which I always do, which are based on James Lipton's The Actor Studio's 10 questions. They are my 10 questions. They are not his, but they were inspired. So tell me, what is one truth your body has always known that your mind took years to catch up to?
That oh God. Okay. Oh God. Okay. The thing, something. My clit came up. That my clit is such a wonderful thing, and I should play with it as much as possible.
Love it. Thank you. What is the most intimate moment you've ever had that had nothing to do with sex?
When a man wiped my tears when I was crying about something.
Beautiful. Thank you. If you could be remembered for one sensation you gave someone, what would it be?
I would hope, I don't know if it's a sensation, but making them feel seen. That's very important.
Thank you. If pleasure were a language, what would your first word be?
Shit.
That's really interesting. I'm going to come back to that after. Okay, if your erotic life had a title like a novel or a film, what would it be called?
All three in me. I just have to
already there. Yes.
Yes.
What is one thing you've never said out loud, but you wish someone would ask you about?
Damn. I'm trying to be fast for these answers, girl. These are not rapid. These are not like, you have to think about these damn questions. Okay, one thing that I wish I never said out loud that wish somebody had asked me about. How I deal with loneliness. Because I get lonely a lot.
Thank you. What part of your erotic self are you still afraid to bring to the light?
I don't have the way I tell on myself in this book. I don't have nothing. All of my shit is in all of my ashiness is all in the thing. I don't have nothing.
What dies in you when you pretend, and what comes alive when you don't?
Girl, these questions are good. I'm trying to be fast.
You don't need to be fast.
I feel like I gotta like hurry up. Okay. Ask me again. That's such a good one. Ask me again.
What dies in you when you pretend, and what comes alive in you when you don't?
God. When I say God, my inner being dies when I lie, or when I, and whatever you said, not telling the truth. And what comes alive is my ego.
Thank you. Finish this sentence. When I leave this life, I want my skin to remember.
This is going to sound weird, but my mommy. My mother, beautiful. I love her. Yeah.
And if the soul has a scent, what does yours smell like today?
My vagina. No, I'm just playing. It smells. I was gonna say my pussy. Okay, no. It smells like fresh baked bread.
Yum. Thank
I
you.
love the way bread smell was in this oven. It's like, I love it. Okay, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for answering all of these. I know they're a load full. So, and I want to thank you for joining me today for a really frank, open conversation. It's funny, you said when I said what part of your erotic self are you still afraid to bring into the light? You know what came up for me for you was vulnerability.
Really? I think I'm very vulnerable. Sometimes too goddamn vulnerable. But okay. I received that though. No.
It was a download. I was like, because I'm gonna speak for myself. You want to talk about mirrors, right? Like being so open, and I consider myself pretty open, is that I also find that I can hide in it, right? And just being so open that I'm like, oh yeah, I've got these tender parts that I protect really, really well. And sometimes that's by just being so open and out that that there's something more tender that even lives underneath there.
Now, okay. Of course, it always is that, but I feel like it's like it depends on the version. Like if I'm just making Instagram content, I'm not usually going to be all tender. But if you read the book, I'm nothing but tender. And then if you're in my life and in the personal level, then you get that vulnerability. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but I do love that you said that. And I also want to say thank you so much for actually reading as much of the book as you did. You know what I'm saying? I love you for caring about that. You know, this is the first interview I've done with somebody that's actually read the book, and it makes for a very interesting conversation. And I hope that you are, and I hope you do decide to finish the book. You don't really have to now. We've done it.
No, I'm going to, and I'm actually going to do exactly what you said, which is go back and reread it again so that I can fully absorb each different, I want to say part, right? Archetype part that is so clear within, that was planned out in that way that, you know, because I just found that so interesting, living each experience through the different parts.
Yeah, so, that's really cool. I really appreciate you. I love this. I loved this whole conversation. It's probably my favorite interview. It really was. It's such a great conversation. But I wish I could have got a chance to ask you. I'm so curious about you. I know you're interviewing me, but I want to know about you. You know, so maybe we can do it again. Where I can be like, girl.
Yeah, let's do it again. You get to interview me. We'll turn it around on Skin and Soul. She gets to interview me. And I want to make sure everybody knows where to get your book. So where to find you.
You can get the book on wherever you buy books. Most people do Amazon these days, so it's Kindle, Amazon. So you can just search All 3 in Me. 3 is the number, not the word. Or you can follow me on Instagram at Cidney_Green. So that's CIDNEY_green, like the color. Or you can go to www.all3inme.com and it has all of my shit. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. I loved it.
Me too.
All right. And for everyone else, have a beautiful week. I will see you here back same time, same place. Thank you. Ciao.
Thank you for listening to Skin and Soul with me, Gwenm. Join me Fridays at 10 a.m. PST on Transformation Talk Radio. Catch the podcast anytime on your favorite platforms. You can follow me on Instagram at Luvology. Ready to take the next step? Book a compatibility call with me at GwenmCarsley.com.